So now we will see the evolution of the viruses, how the virus has been evolved in this world. Whether we see this hypothesis that viruses, because of the viruses, the life has been originated, then how the viruses have been originated in this world. So we will see that basics of the classification. There are three kinds of the theories of the classification. We will see them one by one about the viruses evolution. What is the evolution? It is the process by which different kinds of the living organisms are believed to have been developed from earlier forms during the history of the earth. It is called as evolution. If we are talking about the evolution of the viruses, then it means that how the earlier forms of the viruses came into this earth. Similarly, the evolution theory of the beings of the earth, that how the man become originated in this world. So we will see in detail that what is the evolution. Viruses are formed wherever there is the life and have probably existed since the living cells first evolved. It is considered that viruses were always there in this world, even the thousands or the years ago, before we millions of the years ago. So viruses were found wherever there is the life. They are still there wherever there is the life. There are the viruses. However, the origin of viruses is unclear because they don't form the fossils. Until now, the evolution theories are just based on the fossils. The matter with the viruses is this, that they don't make the fossils. They are not fossilized. Therefore, it is very difficult to research on the viruses, whether the viruses, when the viruses become evolved. We don't have the other techniques except the fossils. We always see the evolution with the help of the fossils. However, the viruses don't fossilize. So we need to use the DNA and RNA techniques, the modern techniques, to see the viruses. The DNA and RNA techniques, because the viruses are already made up of with the RNA or the DNA. So therefore, the RNA and DNA techniques will be very beneficial and very important for the study of the evolution of the viruses. So molecular techniques can be used to compare the DNA and RNA of the viruses and is very useful for investigation of the erosion of the viruses. Viral genetic materials occasionally integrate into the germline of the host organisms. So this is also very important, another thing, by which they can pass on vertically to the offspring of the host for the many generations. Of course, the viruses are incapable of replicating itself by themselves. So therefore, they are already integrated. Sometimes they are integrated in the host cell. And this category can be go from generation after generation to the other generations. This provides an invaluable source of the information for paleovirologists to trace back the ancient viruses from the start that have existed up to millions of the years ago. There are three main hypotheses. We have just seen the theory of the classification of the viruses, through which we can see that viruses have been originated in these three ways. First is the regressive hypothesis, other is the progressive hypothesis, and then the self-replicating hypothesis. We will see all these hypotheses one by one and see the details that how the viruses have been originated. First of all is the regressive hypothesis. Viruses don't have the common ancestors. Of course, viruses evolved from free living cells or intracellular prokaryotic parasites. This is regressive hypothesis. Then the progressive hypothesis. Viruses have been originated from RNA or DNA molecules. First, there were only the RNA or DNA molecules, and viruses have been originated from those molecules, and then those molecules escaped from the host cells. This is also called escape hypothesis or escape theory. Then there is the self-replicating hypothesis, which claims that viruses originated from self-replicating entities. They have been their own themselves, they were replicated, and similarly to transposons, which we can replicate by self-replicating by itself.